Hey, Mike.
Norm, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. How have you guys handled all the COVID stuff? Has it been pretty clear for you? I just jumped in. I don't know if you made an opening statement or not.
No.
I didn't know how you were doing with all that, or if you've had guys out, or if you've been pretty virus free, or what.
I'm careful to say we've been free of anything, and then something pops up this afternoon. We've been nothing short of remarkable to this point. Have we had a couple of setbacks in the summer? Yeah, but we're healthy and have been healthy since we kicked it off October 14th. I think we've learned a lot from football. I think we have learned a lot from the athletic training staff with our football program. Mark Rogers has done a tremendous job with our athletic department in putting those protocols in place, and I commend our team. It's a difficult time, Norm. I ask players Monday morning, we take a Sunday off, how was your weekend? And the typical response is, it was great. I didn't do a thing. So they understand. They want to play. They understand the only way we can get there is to take care of themselves, a personal accountability, and at the same time taking care of one another. And I've been so impressed with our team's discipline and how they have adhered to the things set forth by our medical team. But today's a new day, Norm. So, and you see what's going on in the SEC. I think there are 3 games canceled this weekend. We got a long way to go here.
Thanks.
Mark Berman, you can go next.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Have you gotten any kind of final word yet from the ACC on if unfortunately a player does test positive this season, what kind of the quarantine period will be for the team? How many days or weeks you'll be out of commission?
Mark, I don't know that we have a definitive answer on that. I know that those conversations are continuing and have been going on through the summer. I am still a bit. I'm not certain to answer your question. We have things in place now. If one were to test positive as it pertains to practice and the isolation, the quarantine, but what that looks like during the course of the season, I don't know a final answer on that.
And as far as the team's concerned, you've got 3 freshmen that you've had a good look at since mid-October.
Yeah.
Can you talk about those 3 freshmen and what each of them you think how they will help you this year, perhaps?
Yeah, well, they're growing and impressed with their work habits and willingness to learn. They come in the gym every day, with big eyes and excited to be a part of our basketball program. Joe Bamasil, probably a little ahead of the others with his ability to score in length and just a good basketball player. Darius Maddox is off to a very fine start. Another young man that can really shoot the basketball, score the basketball. And I'm not sure when it's all said and done, Mark, that David Gasson is not going to be a terrific player around here. His length and his his ability to run, basketball IQ, not shooting the ball great right now, but he affects the game in a number of ways, and he's going to play. He's going to play this year, and I look forward to seeing him develop as he goes along. He's a good basketball player.
Thank you.
Next up, we'll go Jimmy Robertson.
Hey, Coach. I was just wondering, with all the newcomers and new faces, do you anticipate being able to play more of the style that you would like to play with this team?
Jimmy, I think so. I'm looking forward to that. We are deeper. I think in year two, I feel pretty good about the balance of our roster. That's I talked about it in the office yesterday, as a matter of fact, and where our distribution will be in terms of minutes early in the season and how that will compare to the end of the season, I think will be interesting as guys come on and come into their own more as players, and we can plug different people into some different spots that we didn't have the luxury of doing a year ago. So yes, to answer your question, I've enjoyed that part of it through 20 practices, 21 practices, or whatever we are right now, and that will continue on, certainly through the early portion of our schedule.
David Teal.
Mike, you mentioned earlier in talking to Norm about the SEC football postponements this week. Having watched college football, the NCAA has given you a 27-game max and a 13-game minimum to qualify for the tournament. If I split that down the middle and offered you a 20-game season right now, guaranteed, would you take it?
Yes, right now. It's going to be tricky, Dave. You know that. We all know that. So yes, to answer your question, if we could get to 20, I think that would be remarkable. We have to get to the end. We have to get to the end with an opportunity to play in the postseason and get to the NCAA tournament. And I do feel very confident that we are going to do that. But I think realistically, 20 is probably a pretty good number.
Yeah, and just a quick follow-up. What does a Virginia Tech basketball practice look like? How is it different in the pandemic than, say, last season, or maybe not at all?
We think about it all the time, and watch practice, have a couple of assistants that when we're in close contact with one another. And the biggest problem we were having after the first 4 or 5 practices was when I would bring a group over and we would talk about something, we would diagram something. So now, and we're talking about that in our timeouts and how we're going to be spaced, and the 5 that are on the floor are going to be here, and they're going to be a safe distance apart, and what that's going to look like and feel like. But we never bring them together as a unit on that practice floor. When I have 5 or 6 of them, they are behind me. They are spaced out, and I've got a board that I am holding above my head. And explaining that way, it's different, but not altogether different, Dave. I think the pace of our practice is still much the same, and I feel very good. One, that we're 20 practices in, and we're doing well, and to think that we're less than 2 weeks away from throw it in the air is exciting for us.
Mike Barber.
Yeah, to follow up on that, Mike, we've seen football and teams losing 10, 15, 20 guys for a game. Basketball rosters obviously can't sustain that. In your mind, is it as simple as if you have an infection situation, you're going to be shut down, or is there a chance that you could see playing shorthanded and keeping it isolated within a program?
Mike, I think those are questions that are going to be answered as we go along. I don't want to speak out of turn here. I just feel such a difference state by state. And our league is comprised of schools from 10 different states. I talked to a couple other coaches in our league, and their concerns are different than mine. So again, it is going to be tricky. I hope that we can. We're not in a situation where we have to shut the thing down. As I read, Seton Hall is down for a couple of weeks now. We lost a game yesterday. Stetson had a positive case. Their Miami game on November 25th is not going to be able be played now. So I just I'm holding on for dear life, and I'm coaching my team, and hope that we can get to the 25th and then head up to Connecticut for what we hope's a couple of games. And it's a day-by-day deal. I think more so than at any other time in our careers as writers, as basketball coaches. You deal with what you've got, make the best of what you can.
When we talked to you last month, you said you had questions or confusion, curiosity about how it would be handled with the officials. Would they work multiple leagues? How would their testing be done? And I'm curious, do you have any clarity on how the officials will be handled?
I don't. I talked to Brian Kersey last night about a couple of things, and those aren't questions that I asked Mike. Could it be more regional? I think the answer to that is obviously yes. I would think that Brian and others would want to keep them off airplanes and out of hotels as much as they can. How does that look, over the course of the season? I know that they will be tested like our team will be tested 3 times a week. Not sure how that is going to be executed, but those officials are a big part of what we do and a big part of our games, and they'll be taken care of just as our kids will be.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Hank?
Hey, Mike. With the obvious potential that this will be a fluid situation all year, does your rotation necessarily need to be bigger at the start so that you're not throwing some kid that you wouldn't necessarily be playing into a situation if you find yourself shorthanded?
Thought a lot about had a conversation back in August, maybe July, with Vance Weiss, our offensive line coach. And he's talking about those guys playing multiple positions along their front line. Left tackle moves to center for this very purpose. I gave that some thought. So we have bounced different lineups, played more than Wabisa Beatty and Cartier. Jada will start the year at the point for us. We've moved a couple other guys over. I didn't say in case somebody gets sick, but that was the thought process. And talk about every day, the ability to guard multiple positions, the ability to learn multiple positions, not just the 2, the 2 and the 3, the 4 and the 5, would be beneficial for those guys individually. Certainly a positive for our team. So yes, I have spent quite a bit of time on that actually, and continue to do so in preparation for a scenario like you're referring to.
Does that scenario seem inevitable at some point? I think we're kidding ourselves if we think that we're not going to have an issue throughout the course of the season. Let's hope not. We may get to the end of it and we haven't, and that would be awesome. But the realist in me thinks that we're all going to be affected at some point during the season. And again, let's handle it the right way and get them healthy and get them back when we can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, kind of want to get off topic of this season and COVID-19. What can you tell me about your time back in the 1980s at Emory and Henry?
Oh, man, I love that school. That's my school. My dad's an Emory and Henry grad, 1958. I had a remarkable experience. I had a great education, and those were great years. I was there 82 to 86. Make sure I get that right. And Coach Johnson, Bob Johnson, gave me my start in coaching. So I started my career in 86. I was there for 2 years and left in 88. Still a lot of friends there. I love Emory and Henry and the folks there, and great school. Been a great school for many, many years.
Following up on that, what can you just tell me about Coach Johnson? What all he told you? Because I remember he was a big Army person too, so he kind of took his Army experience into coaching.
He was a mentor, a father figure. He was a great coach. He was rough now, but in a great heart, a compassionate man. We're all of us have folks that came into our lives and gave us opportunities and helped us and saw something in us that maybe we didn't see in ourselves, and made a lot of things possible for each of us. Fletcher Aird at Fort Union Military Academy and Bob Johnson, without question, are two of those figures for me, and I am always indebted to those guys. Bob Johnson's was a remarkable man, and as I do my dad now, having lost my dad back in March, I would give anything to pick up the phone and call Coach Johnson and talk to him about our team and his thoughts on things. I hate that I don't have the opportunity to do that.
How much have you used his coaching experiences with you just now in your days coaching at Tech and at Wofford? My
language is a lot better than Coach Johnson's, I can assure you that. But a lot. We're all products of those that we've come in contact with. And, I still hear myself repeating things that he said back in the early 80s. Same with Fletcher Aird when I had the opportunity to play for him in 1981-82 at Fuma. A tremendous impact on me as a human being, as a basketball coach, and I hope that I can, uphold, the things that they held near and dear, as men, as coaches, and again, just thankful to have had the opportunity.
David DeGuzman.
Coach, as of right now, it looks like you guys will be opening the season against Radford 2 weeks from yesterday. How hard was it to get to make a non-conference schedule with so many schools in flux and trying to see who was available?
What was most difficult about all of that was that it was so foreign. It was just, I forget when that occurred, but we would have played 4 games prior to the new start date of November 25th. So you are literally sitting there in the office with your staff and you have nothing. You have the opportunity to play 7 non-league games, one of which would be the ACC Big Ten Challenge. You want to do everything you can to take care of your team and prepare your team as best you can heading into ACC play. There is no blueprint. You are flying by the seat of your pants. There's all of these MTEs. They're everywhere. And at the end of the day, very, very few of them, are going to occur. So it was a hurry up and wait. You are talking to a lot of people, waiting for them to get back to you. It was challenging. I mean, it was really challenging. But I do feel good about what we were able to piece together. I think it does for our team what we needed to do for our team, and that's any non-league schedule. That's what you set out to do.
Well, when it comes to figuring out your team, what answers are you not getting by having such a reduced number of non-conference games about your team?
Well, it's a different year in every regard. By this time, we've scrimmaged and we've got a lot of tape, and we have the opportunity to teach and go back and review, and we don't have that opportunity. Now, football doesn't scrimmage. They sometimes will play a league game to start their season. I guess we did this past year. You'll start league play without a exhibition game, a scrimmage. So this is uncharted territory in terms of a scheduling model, in terms of a non-league schedule, and we have one charge, and that is to make the best of it that we can, prepare a team, hopefully win a number of games.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Travis Wells.
Hey, Coach, as you get set to go through this league for a second time, I'm just curious, in your second year, you feel, a little more equipped to sort of navigate what can be a grind? And did you learn anything in that regard last year that can help you?
Well, I knew coming in, Travis, it's the Atlantic Coast Conference, and, that league schedule comes across the screen on Tuesday, and, there's a couple of stretches in there, you scratch your head. But and I don't care where you are. Let's take care of today. We've got practice at 3:45. I'm excited about that. I know we open our season November 25th against Radford, and that's where our focus lies. Anytime I start looking ahead and I start looking, at 3 games out, 4 games out, that's not healthy. We know our league schedule is going to be a bear. We're all saying that. We all have difficult stretches in there. There's a reason people consider it the best basketball league that college basketball has to offer. So excited about it. Can't wait to get it kicked off. And I think I know we open ACC play in December against Clemson around December 15th. They're going to be really good with a lot of people coming back. So. Again, can't wait to get started. Can't wait to see this team on the floor.
Brook Leonard.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Good, Brooke. Hope you're well.
I'm doing okay. I know it's hard to kind of find silver linings in all of the drama, but has there been something that's been particularly rewarding just through this really difficult time? Either with your kids or just outside of finding a schedule and kind of getting the ball rolling?
Having dinner with my family every night. Every night. This is so bizarre. I talk about it with my wife all the time. We're gone a lot. We practice. We head out to Charlotte to see a kid play. We've got to head out after practice on Saturday to see a jamboree. We don't have that opportunity now. My daughter's a senior at the University of the South, and when everything came down in March, she was home for a couple of months, and after 6 weeks or so, and she was right. She said, I'm 21. We have not had dinner together this many times collectively as we have in the last 6 weeks, and I've enjoyed that. I get home, most nights 7:30. We have dinner together. We talk. We share, and then we go our separate ways. And Margaret's doing her stuff, and I'm making recruiting calls. But the time with family has been a blessing, and I have thoroughly enjoyed that part of it. So really a hard time, and it's been tough for all of us, Brooke. For the media, for basketball coaches, restaurants, hotel operators, all of us. But there have been some silver linings, and that would be the one thing that comes to mind when I consider that.
Paul Van Wagner.
Mike, good morning. Thanks for doing this with us. For the record, I trimmed my beard the other
Paul,
day,
I appreciate that. I can tell. You look like Grizzly Adams the last time I saw you.
I wanted to look good for you, Coach.
Thanks, buddy.
Hey, I have a question for you that maybe is a little more complex than you want to dive into, but I'm going to ask anyway. With the NCAA issuing the blanket waiver for all winter athletes moving forward, how much does that change your focus from not only a standpoint of recruiting, but minutes that you're going to play the kids, because you don't need to worry about redshirting anyone, and how you use the kids? Is that something that you guys have talked about and thought about as a staff?
Yeah. It's an interesting question and something that, that's new. there's no need to consider redshirting anyone. Like you said, they get the year back. In terms of the transfer, Paul, I'm going to do it the way I've done it for 35 years. I'm going to coach them. I'm going to care for them. I'm going to do everything I can to see that they get an unbelievable college experience, and that's not hard to do here at Virginia Tech. But I am not. I'm not going to be in a situation where I'm thinking about, this guy not playing enough and maybe he leaves. I don't think that's any way to live. You've got to do what you can for this particular team. While considering each person on that team, we've got 15 of them, and they're all valued and a big part of our program. And I'm thrilled that they're here. But it's a tough time now. I mean, it's with the one-time transfer and guys getting a year back, and there's a lot of things in the air, Paul. A lot of things to consider.
Have you had any conversations, and I'm not going to ask you to single players out, but just in general, have you had any conversations with any of the players as to whether or not they want to come back and had they maybe been like graduating this year or whatever? Have you had any of those conversations?
I have talked to a couple of seniors. I have. But those are very informal, brief conversations, kind of jokingly at first, and then, maybe a couple of them come by the office. Let's revisit that. Let's talk about that and what that looks like, and the opportunity to do a graduate degree. I left it with them this way. Let's worry about this team. Let's do everything we can to make this team as good as we can be, and this is something that we'll revisit at a more appropriate time. March, April, May will be interesting, to say the least. But I feel good about the kids that I have here, and if we have one or two that would like to come back, that maybe we're looking toward graduating, we'll delve into that more deeply again at a more appropriate time.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate
Thanks, Paul. Take care, buddy.
A couple more here, guys. David Cunningham.
Hey, Mike. Hope you're well. I wanted to ask you about your 4 sophomores. The guy Hunter, Naheem, Jalen, and John, the guys you had come in as freshmen last year. How have those guys just improved? Obviously, you didn't get to see him for a big chunk of quarantine and right after the end of the season. But what have you seen from those guys as you get ready to kick off your season in a couple weeks?
I think the biggest jump, David, and great question. I think the biggest jump, I've always felt this way. Others may feel differently. The biggest jump in a person's game is between his freshman and sophomore year. Got a better idea what's required physically, emotionally, and you've got an opportunity to really, get bigger physically. I watch a lot of tape during the summer. It was a bit choppy when we broke up in March, and we didn't get them back until I think July 6th. It was early July, so. That's quite a bit of time. You lose your spring in that time. But David, I couldn't be more encouraged and excited about what each of those guys have done. I'm so thankful that we were able to get David Jackson, who's played here, worked for several different coaches. Thankful to get David back from College Station to be with our program again, and he's done a remarkable job with our program. Certainly the sophomore group. Each of those guys, David, bigger, stronger, quicker, faster, with a much higher level of understanding of what is required defensively, and how we want to play. Thrilled they're here, I can tell you that, and the progress that they've made from the end of last year. And part of that is, just who they are as people. They worked at it when they weren't here in, March, April, May. They worked at it. Naheem Aline, I think you may have seen the story. His mom and dad went to Dalton, Georgia, to buy a portable basket to put up in their cul-de-sac so he could work out. So those guys are doing great, and thankful they're Hokies.
On a follow-up on a little bit of a different note, a guy I know you always love to praise, Wabisa Bede. It's his senior year. He's the elder statesman of this team. What have you seen from him in his improvement since last season? He was one of the best in the country in terms of handling the ball and keeping it last year.
He's worked at it again. He did not go home. He chose to stay around, and we had some limitations in our building for obvious reasons, but he's worked. He works like a dog, and he's about the right stuff. As I did last year, I will be the same thing this year in terms of I just have such great trust in him and great admiration for how he goes about his business and who he's about as a person. He's a team guy. He will be a captain again, as he was last year. He'll be a big part of it. He will be a big part of this team. Could we play 2 point guards together? I could. I've done that before, and I've never had a problem with that. So those are questions that will be answered as we move along, and that will become more clear to me here in the near future, I feel certain.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, David. Good to see you, buddy.
Last question, guys. We'll go with Mark Berman.
Mark Berman, are you there?
I'm ready
Did you
to go
fall
here.
asleep? You taking a nap, Mark?
As far as your expectations for this season, last year you won 7 ACC games. Do you feel like you've got a roster, a team that can win more than that this year?
I do. But you've heard me say it. You'll hear me say it again. Every year, the same goal, one, to take this team as far as I can take them and see them grow and develop and come together as a unit in a bizarre time for all of us. But I do. We are better. How much better? I'm not sure yet. I think appreciably, simply because we're bigger and stronger and can beat you in more ways. But undersell and overserve. That will be my way of looking at things throughout my career, professionally and personally. And I'm looking forward to getting into it. I can tell you that. Excited about where we are today, and thankful we have another 10 practices or so before we kick it off on November 25th.
What worries you in terms of making it through the season with COVID and all that, and with and not losing games and players? It seems like non-conference wise, you're pretty much, other than going to the Mohegan Sun, you're going to be playing games in Blacksburg. Whereas the conference season, obviously, you've got a lot of states you'll be traveling to and all that, and about 2 games a week. Is the ACC season kind of the bigger concern for you in terms of trying to make it through the season?
I'm concerned about all of it. I mean, I am. But the only thing we've got's today. And that sounds simplistic and like I'm hedging my bet. I'm not, Mark. I'm not. I know that we're all healthy today. I know that I'm going to practice here at 3:45. Hear all the cold and flu season, and we're coming inside, and it's colder, and it's getting darker. I know all those things are true, but just trust that each of us, our team, continues to watch themselves. Our students are out of here at the Thanksgiving break, and they'll be gone through January 19th, I think. So we have as close to a natural bubble as we can. Is that going to help us? I certainly think so. I hope so. I'm concerned about a lot of it, but some of it's out of my control. Again, all I can control is today and our team, and I am beyond excited to get down there and get going with them this afternoon.